Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go into this report and we're going to do a couple of things that involve event rules. So I'm going to go into design. I've already got it checked out. And the first thing, since we've created multiple versions for this with different processing options, I am going to go and add the version to this report because I can't tell, the only way I can tell what version of this was run is actually to look at the search type over here. And I want it to be a little easier for me. So I'm going to go into design. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a report variable, which is an alpha variable. I'm going to highlight this section and click on alpha variable and then bring my cursor back down where it gives me an indicator that I'm going to be placing something. Okay, there's the alpha variable, and I'm going to double click to go into properties, and I'm going to name it version. Okay. And then I'm going to highlight the section and right mouse click and go into event rules. And in the do section, I'm going to put my customary blank line. And then I'm going to say, I want to set, I'm going to do an assignment. Sorry, I jumped into that awful fast, but I'm going to do an assignment here where I'm going to say RV version equals the system value. And notice there's an SL in front of it, version name. These are values that are already defaulted, system values. So I'm going to highlight that, and I see my object and my to object and my front object are populated. So I'm going to say okay, and it's going to build my version there. Okay, so I'm going to save that and I'm going to go run it real quick. And see, now I've got the version. Well, darn, that's BB0002 doesn't help me a whole lot. I mean, it does tell me what version is being run, but I still have to look over here to see if it's employees. Now I notice this company version on mine isn't showing up. So I am going to replace the field up here with something that tells me exactly what version I'm running. So I'm just going to move this over here for right now. And I'm going to put another alpha variable up here. And I'm going to call it search type. Okay. And then I'm going to go back in here and try and figure out how to set that up to say employee. Now, I'm going to add a blank line. And so, how can I do this? If I go to assignment, here's my search type value that's going to get populated. Oh, I can set it up with address type. So let me do that. And see what happens. I'm going to save it, save the
How do
event. Go
how do
ahead.
you know which particular variable you're working on?
Well, if you remember when I did this and created a variable here, I then double clicked on it to go into properties. And then
Okay,
I
change
changed.
its name.
Yeah, I don't have to, like this is variable 12. I can just leave it like that. And then when I highlight the section and go into event rules, what was that one again? Do you remember?
What was what one?
This variable that I just put in there.
12, I think you just said.
Right. So I'm going to say RV
Oh, okay.
12 and say
Now
who
I see it.
who dat. So now I'm going to go and save and go over to my batch versions and I'm going to run it again. Advanced override. Okay. Submit local on screen. And look, now it comes up with an E. Well, that's kind of easier. Oh, and there's my who dat field. Okay. Now, I don't really like that. I want to do something different. I want it to actually say employees. So I'm going to go back in there again. And I am going to move this over here and I'm going to add another variable. And I'm going to double click on this one to remind me. I called this one search type. And I'm going to call this one search explanation. You know what? I'm going to actually, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I'm going to also make it really big. And bold. I'm going to move this one out of the way here. And so now I have to populate the associated description from this variable here up into this variable. So we're going to try and do that. Go back to my do section again. And since I was in search type here, I'm going to call a business function, which is get UDC, something like that. And I'm going to use this business function because this is the one that says obsolete. Oh, we lost Chris.
Actually, there's another one in there that said UDC, get UDC.
Yes, there's a lot of them. So welcome back, Chris.
Thing.
He was hoping we wouldn't notice.
Now, let's see. I'm going to throw in, and I have to remind myself, is it AT1 or ST1? F,
AT1.
it's AT1. Yes, it's AT1. It's this one right here. Okay. Good memory. So I'm going to pass in that it's an AT1. Oh, and let me show, I'm going to take a side path here. We might go a little longer. I'm going to take a side path. I'm going to go ahead and save what I have so far. And I'm going to show you something you can do. There's this thing called, I've recommended you guys download this JDE object browser. It is awesome in that B08000031 was the function that I just not loaded. Was it N? Yes, get UDC description obsolete. I can double click it and load it up, and then I can right mouse click here and hit test function. And it's really cool that I can sit here and say, well, what happens if I type in AT1 here and type in E here, and I'm going to go to run it. And what happens? Nothing. It gives me an error code of 4. And I'm going, well, what's error code of 4? I don't know. But I see that this is probably needs to be uppercase. So I'm going to try that. And that doesn't help any. Maybe because I need to put this down in this field, this E. Oh, there it is. And so the AT1 tells me that it's going to use the user-defined codes for 01ST. It's going to pass in this E and it gets employees. So cool. I want to use fields 1, 5, and 6 in my program. And so I'm going to go back to my program here. Oh, it was up in the header. Highlight the header section, go to event rules. And here I want to pass in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to pass in number 5, which is the processing option value. And then I'm going to get back item 6. I'm going to pass that into search explanation. And I'm going to say okay and hope it works. I don't know that it will. I'm going to save it and I'm going to run it. And oh, wrong thing. I got to start over. Local, yes. And look at that, employees comes out on top. So it works for me. So I did the right thing. What's really nice about this now is if I run the report for vendors, it says vendors up there now. Any questions on that? All right, I am going to stop the recording there so that